In downtown Dallas, President Kennedy was shot today just as his motorcade left downtown Dallas. Mrs. Kennedy jumped up and grabbed Mr. Kennedy. She cried, "Oh no." The motorcade sped on. A photographer said he saw blood on the president's head. It was believed 2 shots were fired.
But I wanted to ask you about the Kennedy assassination and your father's relation to that investigation. And did he have a part in any of that? I know for a time there, people speculated that the mafia could be involved. So I wanted to see if your father had any connection to that investigation.
Right. There's a whole discussion about the FBI, the mafia. Was there a conspiracy? All of that. At the time of the Kennedy assassination, I remember it vividly. I was in school at the time. I was a grade school kid. I remember when it happened. A lot of people did when they heard about JFK dying, getting killed. They remember that moment when they heard the news. It was life just seemed to stop right then and there. And I think that in many respects, because I remember how shocking it was at that sort of ground zero moment of American history. And I think that is spread all the way to today, to the point where people still can't believe that this beloved president could have been killed in that fashion without there being some form of conspiracy. I'll get into that briefly. Now, my dad was not involved with any investigation when he was in the FBI at that time in 1963 when Kennedy got shot. He was still involved with organized crime. He was not investigating it. The FBI supplied as much information as they could to the Warren Commission about it. Hoover and the FBI did not believe that there was a conspiracy. I don't remember reading anything publicly from Hoover about it. I would have to look that up and research it. I'll be truthful with you. But there wasn't anything coming from the FBI that they felt that there was a conspiracy. All of the information that they gathered went to the Warren Commission. The Warren Commission felt that it was one man and one man alone. Okay. I'll tell you this, jumping ahead to my father after he retired from the Bureau, and many years later, in the 90s, my father was what? He was a professional investigator, okay? Wasn't a journalist, a professional investigator. And he investigated the Kennedy assassination, did a voluminous amount of reading, read up everything on it, and wrote his assessment about what he felt was probably the cause. He felt that Oswald did act alone. That was his assessment. And it wasn't because the FBI had a certain look on it. I'll say one thing as short as I can. My dad and the other agents had a love-hate relationship with J. Edgar Hoover. They loved the fact that he was protecting America. He did anything that he could to protect America and to protect the integrity of the FBI. He also had a bitterness about it because he was the sort of individual that ran the FBI like with an iron fist. If you did the slightest thing wrong, well, buddy, you were gonna get shipped off to Butte, Montana, some tiny little field office that looks like an outhouse if you did something wrong. So my father was the type of individual. If he felt there was something that he didn't like about Hoover, he would say it. He would tell you. And he wasn't trying to protect the FBI by saying that he felt that JFK, that Oswald acted alone. He really did believe that within all of his investigations and readings. He told me, he said, Gary, Oswald's own brother even said that he felt that Oswald acted alone. There was just too much. Oswald was a very unbalanced individual mentally. He had mental issues. He wanted to become a communist so bad. He went to the Soviet Union to live, and the Soviets disliked him so much. They thought he was such an oddball and such a pain in the neck. They kicked him out of the
Yeah.
Soviet Union. They didn't want him anymore. So, bottom line, uh, my dad through my dad's readings and his thoughts on it, he felt that Oswald acted alone. Now, you want to get back to the mob angle of it. Um, there are a lot of mob guys, and I've talked to another individual I know that's connected to the New York mob. He his father-in-law was a made guy in New York. He was This individual was very. He wasn't a made guy himself, but he was very much involved. He knew the world. He knew the life. He felt that Carlos Marcella
Right.
with the Louisiana family was
Hmm.
involved with killing Lee Oswald and
Yeah.
was involved with killing JFK. Michael Francis feels that the mob was involved with it.
Yeah, I've heard
I
him
di-
say
I
that.
disagree. Yeah, I disagree, and I can give you my personal reasons for it. But though in terms of my father, that's what was going on.